Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through my vintage black hole movie collection. Now I always loved the Disney black hole film, maybe not quite as much as Star Wars, probably on a par with Disney's Tron, but over the years collecting Star Wars stuff I have ended up amassing a bit of a collection of some of the toys, the books, the jigsaws, the games, that sort of thing, which is what we're going to be having a look at today, and there's some really great stuff in here. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so really excited. I've got all my black hole collectibles, at least everything that I could get my hands on at the moment, and I pulled it all together into one sort of big box to put it all, to have it all together and to go through and see exactly what I've got, and maybe some bits that I'm actually missing, because I've joined a couple of black hole Facebook groups online, and boy oh boy is there some fantastic stuff out there. I had no idea so much was made for the black hole, and there's absolutely stacks that I'm actually missing. So, you know, it is what it is. You can't collect everything, but these are just a few of the bits that I've picked up while I've been, an obsessive Star Wars collector, I suppose, over the years. So we'll start with this one. Now, this is a British Waddington's Jigsaw, and I believe there was 4 of these. So as far as I know, that one's all complete. It's quite a nice little montage there. I know there were some Jigsaws issued in America, and there are 4 of these, but this is just like an odd one that came my way. Now I've got 2 editions of the paperback here. Now they're both British ones. One is 75p and one is 95p. So let's have a look at the 75p one first of all. New English Library, first printing 1979, and it's got some photos inside there, which I always used to love, and it's got photos on the inside covers as well, which is quite nice. Now this is the 95p one. This one, yeah, still got the inside photo. So what's the difference with this then? Also says a first print 1979. So all I can think of, although they're saying it's a first print, it must be a later edition, but it has got a different ISBN. I wonder if this one, the 75p one, is possibly like a junior edition. So that's got like about 120 pages, and this thicker one here, about 185. I reckon that's the junior edition, although it doesn't actually say so on the cover. I always remember when I got the Black Hole, I actually read this one at the time, you know, back in 1979. I remember buying it in W.H. Smith's, and my copy had chapters, I remember this vividly, chapters 1 to 8, and then 1 to 8. So it was a misprint. So I took it back and hastily swapped it around. I guess that would be a bit of a collectible nowadays, wouldn't it? But anyway, that's the paperback there, the British paperback. So I've got a couple of 7-inch singles. This one by Nostromo, and it's called The Black Hole. B-side Gom Jabba, released on Bronze Records. You know, I don't even remember what this sounds like. It's got a big A in the middle. That usually means it's an advanced copy. It probably didn't do a lot. I guess it's one of those weird sort of black hole related things. And when myself and my business partner George used to have Purple Haze, the shop, we used to sell a lot of records. So this is probably one that came our way. I have got one other record while we're here, and this is really nice. This is the Black Hole Read Long 7-inch. So it's a 7-inch record, but you play it at 33, sort of like an album, 33 RPM. This one's actually sealed. This is really nice. But it's the old Book and Record set, and you've probably seen these or remember these. They did also do cassette versions of some of these as well, but this is particularly nice because it's a sealed one. So I'm very, very pleased to have that one in my collection. The next thing we got here is this badge here, and it's really big, a real big button badge. Once again, dated 79, like a lot of these things. A little bit of tarnishing on the back there, but I forget where this one came from initially, and I don't even know if it's a British or American one, but definitely Black Hole. But it's huge, isn't it? Imagine if you're a youngster and you had that on your chest. I mean, blimey. Now I've got, so the next thing we got to look at are the trading cards. Now they were released in America by Tops USA, and there was also a British set, which is what these ones here. The cards are exactly the same, so you probably remember these if you ever collected them, with those really distinctive card backs with Maximilian on. I mean, I absolutely loved them, and it was a treat to have cards, because around this time we were just starting to get sticker sets, so I was delighted to keep having a set of bubblegum cards to collect rather than little stickers, you know. But they were really great, a really awesome set of cards those, and certainly very nostalgic for me. So I've got the British set, and I've also got I haven't sleeved these up, but I've got an American set as well. I believe they're pretty straightforward to get, although I notice I haven't got the box or any wrappers, but I don't think they're difficult to get. I mean, I'm certain I've got a couple of sealed packets, but they're probably in my bubblegum card collection. Now, one thing I was delighted to find recently, because I hadn't seen these since I was a kid, were these. Now, these are like, I think these are iron-on transfers, and it's a bit like, I don't know if you ever remember puffy stickers back in the day, so I can get them out here. Now, there was 2 in the series, and I remember buying these on a school trip to Sicily many years ago. Well, it would have been at the time. So these are actually Italian. That one's numbered, the number 1 and number 2, so the Cygnus and the Palomino. And they're, yeah, as I said, they are Italian. Mayo is the maker there, and I've had those all these years since I was about 9 or 10 years old, and they're really nice, and they're like spongy, so they're like I honestly do think that they were like iron on, but those have been unused. I've never ever used them. I've kept them all these years, and they are absolutely lovely. I'm really pleased with that. I've never seen anything quite like them. I mean, I've never looked them up, so I've no idea how rare they are, but my guess is they're probably pretty scarce. So I've had those right from back in the day. Next thing we've got to look at is just a couple of comics here. So this, I believe, is the regular movie adaptation, published by Gold Key in America. And I've also got, which is a bit more unusual, this. So this is a 3-pack of comics, and these are like in a grab bag. So you see they're like, if I take them out of the sleeve here, these were like, would have been held up on the peg like this, and this has got 3 black hole comics. Now these are the 3 more common ones. You get that one that we've seen there and a couple others. I believe the 4th black hole comic is the really expensive one. That's very scarce, that one, and that I'm afraid I haven't got, sadly, but I'm very pleased to have that. And as I said, these were published by Whitman in America. There was no British black hole comic, but I think they're really nice, and that was just a bind up of those issues, probably for supermarkets and things like that. Also published by Whitman were these 2, which is a couple of what they call frame tray puzzles. So these are like little jigsaws where the pieces pop out, and these are, once again, all dated 1979. Nothing on the back of them, and they did a whole load of these frame tray puzzles. There's loads of superhero ones. I actually have a Star Trek one in my collection. So there was 2 black hole ones. There was that one, and that's really sort of cool artwork on these as well. So yeah, they're really nice. I like the frame tray puzzles. Okay, so this is quite nice. Now this is an American jigsaw. This one of the Cygnus, big 500 pieces one, and this one actually is still sealed, so it's never been opened. So at least I guess we know it's complete. And quite nice that it's got a little like write up, a bit about the movie, and what you're seeing on the front there. Although I would imagine that particular jigsaw must be very difficult with all that sort of black spacey stuff with just that picture to go on. It wouldn't give you much, would it? So yeah, quite a hard jigsaw, that one, to get your teeth stuck into, but good all the same. I'm really pleased I've got it. With the price of postage from America these days, any American memorabilia is always gratefully received. Okay, so the next thing we've got is this little talking Vincent, and this was made by Marks Toys. It is made in Hong Kong for Lewis Marks and Company, Great Britain. So I'm guessing this is just the British version of this toy. I've had this for a long time, since probably the 80s, I think, is when I got this one, maybe the early 90s. And yeah, it's just a little wind up Vincent. Obviously his arms go on there like so, and it's like a little clockwork toy, this one, I believe. Is this it? Yeah, let's have a little, yeah. So, there we are. I don't, with Clockwork Toys, I don't like to wind them or anything, but you sort of get the idea. He's a Clockwork Vincent there. Rather nice, isn't he? He's quite cool, that one. But yeah, don't know really how scarce this one is. The toys from the period are quite collectible these days, and you know, there is a lot of them. But they've done some really, I mean, I keep seeing modern black hole stuff, and it really warms the heart to see that it's still alive, and it's not all Star Wars these days. There is some cool original black hole toys being made still, which is great. But that is definitely a very, very nice item, that one. It's one I've had a long time, and it's certainly one that I very much enjoy, and it's really nice condition as well, that one. Also, another peculiar British item is this Maximilian soap. So, God, I can smell it from here. So I'm not sure how many of these have survived. This is Jean Sorel in London, England. A top quality modelled, unpainted soap. Well, we've got to have a look at it, haven't we? God, this has probably turned up in a toy fair or something like that, and I grabbed it. Probably didn't pay a lot for it. Well, he's the right colour. Look at that. Should we take him out? Wow, it still smells really soapy. Look at that. It's quite a nice design, isn't it? Does he even stand up? He does. Look at that. How cool is that? Not that you'd want to wash your hands with Vincent, would you? With Max rather. But that's actually really nice, isn't it? It's oddball stuff like soaps and that I really like with Star Wars. You know, it's something a bit more unusual to the toys, I guess. But yeah, there we are. I think the front has actually been faded. That would have been bright red at one point, but even so, I'm still really pleased to have that one. Now, we've got a few more books to look at now. So this is a hardback here, and this is the Black Hole pop-up book. So I think I'm just going to pause there and get a slightly better camera angle. Okay, so here's the first of the books we're going to look at, and this is the Black Hole pop-up book. Now, I am a bit of a fan of pop-up books, and I've got the some vintage Star Wars ones. I was delighted to see I still had this one. So it's made by Purnell, and I believe this is once again a British edition, but these were released right around the world, these. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, this. There's the simulated black hole in the background there, and they had to be pretty ingenious, didn't they, with these pop-up books. But these are really nice, I have to say. Yeah, they're great, real feats of paper engineering, aren't they? Fantastic stuff. What's this one down here? Oh, that's from the other side, so fair enough. Oh no, look, there we are. Look, he goes up and down there. This is I'm really reluctant to pry. I don't want to damage these books, but that's cool. Oh, look at that. The Palomino crew escaping. So what's going on here? With his ship crumbling, Reinhardt rushed to the command tower to find the power source destroyed and the protective fields disintegrating. Wow, look at that. It's pretty sort of 3D. There we are. You never get a lot with a pop-up book, do you? But what you get, you know, if you're a youngster, you absolutely really enjoy that. Yeah, that's nice, that one. This one's left poking out a little bit. See, I'm always reluctant to do. Oh, it's actually been out for a while. Always reluctant to play around with pop-ups too much because they can so easily get damaged. Now, this one is the British Black Hole Annual. This is published by Pemberton, I believe, is the company. Stafford Pemberton Publisher, yeah, so it's not a world distributor, and they did a lot of British annuals, but this is one of the sort of the rival publishers. So this is probably a reprint of the Gold Key comic, the Whitman one. Looking at the style of the artwork, I'd say almost certainly that's a reprint of one of the American comics, and then they filled it out with a few stills, the generic board game, and a little bit of a biography of some of the cast. Absolutely, always love this film. It's so great. And I was actually extremely lucky back in the 90s and early 2000s. I did used to work as a supporting artist, so a background artist on various TV, and I did a few films as well. And in one of the ones that I was filmed in Cornwall, I actually got to be in a few scenes with Maximilian Schnell. So I did get to meet him and have a chat with him. So I'll pop those pictures into the video right now. Here's another one, and this is Purnell again, and this is The Black Hole. And what is this? Is this a storybook? It certainly looks like a storybook. Yeah, this is the Black Hole storybook. So very similar to the Star Wars one in that it's got the cast in the front there. And then this will just be the story of the film, no doubt, put into book form. Now this is still a few years before the age of popular home video, particularly Disney, because they would never really release stuff too quickly. They would always make a big bonanza when something did get released. So until that time, really, you had to rely on stuff like this, the book, the annual, the novelization there, just to sort of relive your memories of the film. And that was something that lots of children did when I was young. Now we got yet another one, and it's also Purnell again, and this is a huge book here, and Discovery of the Mystery Ship. Absolutely not real oversized one, this, but still a British edition. And this is like another sort of spin-off painted storybook. Artwork definitely not so good. I don't know if the person who did this had even seen the film, to be honest. Not exactly great artwork. The humans, they were awful. They're almost like blurry, but even so, probably quite a scarce one, that, and particularly a nice nick. It's a huge old book, isn't it? Massive. Now, we've already done the 7-inch records, but there is also this 12-inch one here, and this is the original motion picture soundtrack. Now, it was music by John Barry, who's most famous for the James Bond themes, and really great soundtrack, this, isn't it? Certainly one of my favorites. And this is quite a nice packaging on this one. Got all the cast there as well, which is really good. So many of them gone now as well, isn't it? Robert Forster just recently, Maximilian Schnell, Anthony Perkins, Ernst Borgnine, they're all gone. Such a shame, such a shame. Now the last sort of bit of memorabilia beyond the action figures, which we're going to get to in just a sec, is this enormous board game. So I got this one a long time ago from the States. It's the Space Alert board game. Escape the Doomed Cygnus. Once again, this is Whitman, who did the comics, and they did some of the book and record set and the frame tray puzzle there. So it's pretty generic as these sorts of games go. So there are the pieces there, and most of it has actually been unused. There's a few bits being popped out, but not much. So it's pretty nice condition there. This bit's actually slipped out, so I shall use this opportunity to pop it back in properly. So that was the middle bit there, and this is quite nice. Even this bit is like got the black hole, like a molded logo. That's really nice, that, actually. And then you've got the game cards here. Of course, back in the day, I remember the first time I ever visited Alton Towers, they actually had a black hole fairground ride, like in the theme park, and it was called the Black Hole, but it was nothing to do with the film. It was just, they just pinched the name, basically, you know, which I guess was a bit naughty, but it's not there anymore. There's some of the playing pieces there. Yeah, when I went a few years back, that no longer exists. There's all the pieces, and then this is the actual board, and it's actually more like a poster. It's not a traditional board game per se, but it does fold out and it's massive. So quite cool, that one. Now the last thing we've got to look at is the action figures. Now I never was lucky enough to go around and collect them mint on card like I did with my Star Wars stuff. As I said, I never really collected the Black Hole properly, although you might not think about it. Not in the same way that I did Star Wars. I mean, I just never did. And it was the same with Tron. But I am quite pleased that I've got some of the figures at least. You know, I haven't got all the super rare ones, but I'm pleased with what I've got. So I'll just show you these. They're only loose, but they are at least a bit of fun, and they were to scale, of course, with the Star Wars figures, really. So they could have battles, couldn't they? I know that's a slightly scarcer one, but the real rare ones I've not got, like Old Bob and the humanoid. And of course, I remember buying these at the time, and they had the plastic stands, which unfortunately, once again, mine don't have. This was always quite fun, and this was something that a friend of mine made, and it was, he took a normal Vincent and he mashed it up to look like an Old Bob, because the Old Bob figure was just so scarce to get hold of, which I thought was quite good fun. So they're nice. I mean, they are what they are, and you know, I love them all the same, but they never have the same sort of appeal that the Star Wars ones do. But as part of the collection as a whole, I think they are absolutely fantastic, and certainly I'm pleased to have the ones that I've got. So there we go, that's my little look at my black hole collection. I hope you've seen a few interesting things there. I certainly have enjoyed looking through it. It's been quite a long time since I've had a look through this properly, and it's really nice to finally have it all together in one place. It does make you want to start picking up some of the more fantastic modern stuff that exists at the moment. Certainly there's some just amazing figures in existence. Now, I would strongly recommend you have a look at some of the black hole Facebook groups. They are the stuff that you just would not believe. There's one guy in particular got a whole room just devoted to black hole, and it's amazing. So anyway, that is it for today's video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, do please give it a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for similar content on my channel, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.